What if the meals you trust the most at restaurants are the very ones cutting the biggest corners? The dishes that look safe on the menu but carry hidden costs for your wallet, your health, and your peace of mind. Picture sitting down at a familiar chain restaurant, scanning the menu for something you know and love, and ordering what feels like a safe bet: shrimp, pasta, steak, or maybe a fresh salad on the side. These comfort foods are supposed to deliver tradition and flavor, but behind the kitchen doors, the truth is often far less appetizing. Frozen ingredients, microwaved sauces, and unsafe storage practices are the hidden reality. And for seniors dining on a fixed income, it means you are often paying for far less than you deserve. Let us begin with shrimp scampi, a dish that many people see as a treat, especially at large Italian family chains. On the menu, it sounds like elegance on a plate: tender shrimp, garlic, butter, lemon, and pasta that swirls neatly on the fork. But the reality behind that plate is not luxury. It is frozen shrimp that arrive in plastic bags, thawed in tubs of water, and microwaved or reheated until they reach the table. Former employees have admitted that the shrimp often come pre-cooked, stripped of natural flavor, and rubbery in texture by the time they are served. One viral review described them as tasting like pencil erasers dipped in oil. Another customer posted a photo where the shrimp looked more gray than pink, and the pasta sat in a puddle of greasy sauce. The proof is hard to ignore. Insider accounts confirm that sauces like the scampi garlic butter are delivered to restaurants in sealed industrial bags, reheated and poured over noodles that may have been boiled hours earlier and kept lukewarm in metal bins. The visual of steam rising off the skillet is mostly staged, with extra moisture sprayed on top just before serving. Seniors often order shrimp scampi as a sign of treating themselves, maybe for a birthday or anniversary. But when the shrimp are rubbery, the sauce is clumpy, and the whole dish is closer to microwaved leftovers than fresh cooking, you are not enjoying a luxury. You are being shortchanged. If shrimp scampi is disappointing, chicken Alfredo may be even worse. Alfredo is supposed to feel like comfort food, creamy and rich with parmesan and butter. But at many chain restaurants, what arrives at the table is a pouch of sauce reheated in hot water, not freshly made. Former kitchen staffers have openly admitted that their job was not to cook, but to cut open plastic bags of sauce, dump them into a pan, and heat them until they looked like something edible. The pasta underneath is rarely fresh either. At busy chains, pasta is boiled in bulk at the start of a shift, cooled, and then dunked back into water or microwaved when an order comes in. The result is mushy noodles, sauce that clings in clumps, and a plate that looks far better in advertisements than it does in reality. The numbers are just as alarming as the preparation. Nutrition data shows that a single plate of chicken Alfredo at a chain restaurant can contain more sodium than most adults should eat in an entire day. Seniors who already worry about blood pressure and heart health may think they are getting comfort food, but what they are really getting is a health risk disguised as dinner. The sodium overload combined with heavy cream and butter-like fillers makes it one of the worst meals you can order if you are trying to stay healthy after 50. Many reviews describe the dish as not only heavy but also bland, which is the cruelest irony of all. You are paying extra for food that is both unhealthy and unsatisfying. Next comes the steak dinner, often the crown jewel of chain restaurant menus. Steak is supposed to feel like a celebration, a cut of meat prepared with care, grilled to order, and served with pride. Seniors often choose steak as a treat because it feels timeless, hearty, and worth the splurge. But the truth behind many chain restaurant steaks is deeply disappointing. The meat often arrives frozen, vacuum sealed, and thawed in ways that strip it of texture and flavor. One former Applebee's manager admitted that in his kitchen, the only foods cooked fully from scratch were baked potatoes and sometimes eggs. Everything else, including the steaks, came pre-prepared, reheated, or left sitting in storage. Customers have shared photos of steaks that look more like gray pancakes than juicy cuts of beef. One picture went viral showing a steak so flat and lifeless that one commenter wrote, "That thing looks like it lost the will to grill." Another compared it to a damp carpet. The presentation is not just sad to look at, it is also unsafe. Temperature logs from multiple chain steakhouses revealed that raw and cooked meats were sometimes stored at above 50 degrees in prep areas. That is not simply lazy food handling, that is an open invitation for bacteria growth. Imagine paying $20 or $30 for a steak, only to find out it was sitting in a bacteria-friendly environment before it ever hit the grill. For seniors, that is not just a waste of money. It is a potential health hazard that can send you home with more than just regret. The real insult comes when restaurants advertise their steaks as premium or hand cut, while hiding the fact that the meat was frozen weeks ago and handled with questionable care. Seniors dining out to celebrate a milestone or share a memory deserve better than thawed meat reheated by overworked staff. A steak dinner should be about savoring the moment, not worrying about whether your meal spent hours sitting at unsafe temperatures. Yet in many chain restaurants, that is the hidden truth. These three meals, shrimp scampi, chicken Alfredo, and chain steak dinners, are perfect examples of how comfort foods can betray you. They promise flavor, quality, and tradition, but often deliver disappointment, waste, and unnecessary health risks. The shrimp are rubbery, the Alfredo is a sodium bomb, and the steak is sometimes more bacteria farm than celebration plate. And yet people continue to order them because they sound safe and familiar. But familiarity is not the same as safety, and it is not the same as value. If you think these comfort foods are bad, wait until you hear what really happens behind the kitchen doors after hours. That is where shortcuts pile up, salads are sabotaged, and even the drinks you order might not be as clean as you believe. If the comfort foods from part 1 were disappointing, what happens behind the kitchen doors takes the problem to another level. This is where shortcuts turn into health risks, where salads are not as fresh as they seem, and where even the simplest burger can reveal a string of unsettling secrets. The glossy menus, colorful ads, and family-friendly slogans hide a reality that many diners, especially seniors, would never expect. Consider the endless salad bowls served at large Italian chains. The menu makes them sound like the perfect healthy choice, a crisp balance to heavier pastas and breads. For seniors watching their diet, it feels like the safest order on the table. But behind the scenes, the story is not so crisp. The lettuce is often pre-chopped in giant factory bags, stored in bins for hours and served long after it has lost its freshness. Employees have admitted that those famous olives are soaked in a preservative solution, so strong that handling them leaves fingers numb. Instead of a refreshing crunch, many customers have reported limp, watery leaves and tomatoes that look like they have been soaking in mop water. Health inspectors have documented problems across locations, from improper temperature storage to insect activity in lettuce bins. One inspection record described salad containers with small bugs crawling inside. Another noted that employees use the same rag to wipe down counters and lettuce trays, turning a side salad into a sanitation hazard. Even online reviewers have noticed the problem. One viral photo showed a bowl of lettuce with brown edges and cucumbers that looked more translucent than green. It is not just unappetizing, it is risky. Seniors who choose salad for health may actually be risking bacteria, chemicals, and contamination with every bite. Now picture the signature burger, a staple at almost every chain restaurant. Whether it is from McDonald's, Applebee's, Chili's, or countless others, the burger is the American comfort food. It is the meal people order when they want something simple and satisfying. But many burgers served at chain restaurants are far from simple, and they are rarely satisfying once you know the truth. The patties are usually frozen, mass-produced, and shipped in bulk. They are not fresh ground beef shaped in the kitchen that day, no matter what the ads imply. Former employees have shared photos of patties sweating under heat lamps, buns going soggy in storage, and cheese slices that looked like they had melted hours earlier. One of the biggest risks comes from how burgers are stored and prepared. Health inspectors have cited multiple chain restaurants for keeping patties at unsafe temperatures, sometimes above 50 degrees. That is an open invitation for bacteria. Employees often skip temperature checks when the rush is heavy, meaning the burger you are biting into could have sat out for much longer than it should have. And while chains brag about consistency, the reality is that quality drops sharply from one location to another. A burger that looks decent in one city may come out flat, gray, and lifeless in another. The problems do not end with the burgers themselves. The drinks and condiments served alongside them have their own issues. The famous broken ice cream machines at McDonald's are more than just a running joke. Several workers have confirmed that the machines require long cleaning cycles that are often skipped, leaving mold and residue inside. Soda fountains and ice machines at multiple chains have been found with black slime, mildew, and even insects. One inspector reported that a soda machine was dirtier than the restroom sink. For seniors who already struggle with sensitive stomachs, a glass of soda mixed with mold spores is not a harmless mistake. It is a health threat. The presentation of burgers can be just as troubling. Customers have posted viral photos of sandwiches that looked as if they had already been stepped on. One review of a chain burger simply read, "Tastes like a memory of meat." That humor hides a bigger truth. Seniors are paying restaurant prices for burgers that are frozen, reheated, and sometimes served with sides of moldy ice or dirty soda. Dignity is lost when the meal you count on most ends up being the most careless. The money side of this problem cannot be ignored either. Seniors often live on fixed incomes and treat themselves carefully, believing a salad and a burger combo is a safe, affordable choice. Yet what they are really paying for is a reheated patty, a wilted salad, and a drink that might not even be clean. The prices may be higher than ever, but the quality is lower than ever. You are not paying for fresh food. You are paying for an illusion built on marketing and cut corners. If the shrimp, pasta, and steak from part 1 made you reconsider your order, then these salads and burgers should make you rethink the entire dining experience. The pattern is clear. The more these chains grow, the less they invest in quality, and the more they rely on shortcuts. Customers are left footing the bill while their health and safety are put at risk. For seniors who value safety and dignity above all, that is the cruelest betrayal of all. But the biggest shock is still to come. Because while burgers and salads may be disappointing, the meal that most seniors trust above all others is breakfast. Eggs, pancakes, sausage, and syrup served in familiar diners across the country. It feels safe, it feels traditional, and it feels reliable. Yet it might just be the most misleading, most processed, and most dangerous meal of them all. The stage is set for the final reveal. Breakfast is the meal people count on, the one that starts the day and feels like home. Yet behind the griddles and syrup bottles, shocking shortcuts are waiting. From eggs that arrive frozen in puck form to pancakes reheated on dirty grills, the trusted breakfast combo could be the worst offender of all. And that is where we go next. Because if the comfort meals and classic burgers have already let you down, wait until you hear the truth about breakfast. Breakfast feels like the safest order on the menu. After all, how hard can it be to fry some eggs, flip a pancake, or pour a little syrup? Seniors in particular trust breakfast because it is familiar, simple, and tied to comforting memories. Sitting down at a diner for a plate of eggs and pancakes feels like a tradition that should be safe from shortcuts. But when you pull back the curtain on how those breakfast combos are really made, the illusion falls apart fast. The eggs that many diners serve are not cracked fresh each morning. They arrive pre-cooked and frozen, shaped into uniform puck-like rounds that are reheated on the grill. Former employees from large chains like Denny's and IHOP have admitted that most scrambled eggs are made from liquid egg mix poured from a carton, rather than fresh cracked shells. That liquid egg is often loaded with preservatives to extend its shelf life, which means what lands on your plate is more chemical than farm fresh. One customer who peeked behind the counter said the scrambled eggs looked like yellow foam. Another described their omelet as tasting like spongy rubber. Pancakes carried the same disappointment. Instead of being whipped up with flour, milk, and eggs, they often arrive at restaurants frozen and stacked in bulk boxes. Workers place them on griddles to reheat, but the grills are sometimes not properly cleaned between uses. That means yesterday's grease and crumbs get reheated along with your breakfast. Customers have posted photos of pancakes with black flecks embedded in the batter, evidence of unclean cooking surfaces. The result is not a fluffy golden pancake, but a flat, chewy disc that tastes more like cardboard than comfort food. The syrup tells another story altogether. Rather than coming from glass bottles of maple, it arrives in giant industrial bags filled with corn syrup and artificial flavoring. Employees then attach tubes to dispense it into containers. Former workers have admitted that these bags sometimes leak, creating sticky puddles that attract flies. One inspector even noted a case where syrup containers had visible insects crawling on them. So that sweet drizzle over your pancakes may come with an extra helping of bacteria. The sausage and bacon that complete the combo are not any better. They are often pre-cooked, shipped frozen, and reheated in large batches. Sausages sit in greasy pans under warming lamps, sometimes for hours. The bacon is par-cooked at factories and then crisped quickly before serving, giving it a brittle, artificial texture. Customers have compared the sausage to salty rubber and the bacon to strips of paper. For seniors who choose breakfast as a trusted, protein-filled start to the day, it is a poor return on their money and trust. These shortcuts are not just unappetizing, they come with health risks. Eggs stored improperly can harbor bacteria, and unclean grills create cross-contamination risks. Syrup containers attracting flies are a clear sanitation failure. For seniors who already have weaker immune systems, a single contaminated breakfast plate can lead to illness. What should be the safest and most reliable meal of the day turns into the most dangerous gamble. The pattern across all these meals is undeniable. Restaurants advertise tradition, quality, and care. But what they actually deliver is frozen, processed, and often unsafe food. The shrimp scampi that should feel elegant is rubbery and greasy. The chicken Alfredo that should comfort you is a sodium overload reheated from a bag. The steak that should celebrate a milestone is frozen, flat, and sometimes bacteria-laden. The salads that should refresh you come wilted and contaminated. The burgers that should satisfy your hunger are frozen patties paired with moldy soda. And the breakfast that should start your day right is nothing more than a reheated factory product with a side of syrup-flavored corn goo. For seniors, the betrayal cuts even deeper. Many are on fixed incomes, carefully choosing when and where to spend their dining dollars. They go out to enjoy memories, celebrate milestones, or treat themselves to a meal that feels special. Instead, they are being sold illusions. Food that looks nice in advertisements, but falls apart in reality. Meals that risk their health, waste their money, and strip away the dignity of a good dining experience. So what can you do to avoid these traps? One smart approach is to simplify your choices. Order items that are harder to fake or prepackage. A plain baked potato is less likely to be a microwaved mess than a shrimp scampi. A simple cup of black coffee is safer than soda from a dirty fountain. A small side salad with dressing on the side is easier to control than a giant endless bowl that may have sat out for hours. Local diners and smaller restaurants often prepare food in smaller batches, which means fresher ingredients and fewer shortcuts. It also helps to look for signs of trouble. If your lettuce looks brown or watery, send it back. If your pancakes arrive with black specks, do not be afraid to complain. If the ice cream machine is broken again, remember it might be hiding a sanitation problem rather than a mechanical one. Asking questions and staying alert may feel uncomfortable, but it can save you from wasting your money or risking your health. The bigger lesson is simple. Not all food is created equal. Just because a meal is popular does not mean it is safe. Just because it is cheap does not mean you will not pay for it later. The most trusted, most familiar meals can hide the worst shortcuts, and once you see how much is frozen, microwaved, or left sitting out, it is hard to unsee it. The gray steaks, the rubbery shrimp, the clumpy Alfredo, the limp salads, the sad burgers, and the fake breakfast all tell the same story. These restaurants are built on cutting corners, and those cuts come directly at your expense. Eating out should be a joy, not a risk. Seniors deserve meals that respect their health, their wallets, and their dignity. The next time you sit down at a chain restaurant and glance at the menu, think twice before ordering the comfort foods that look the most familiar. Comfort should not mean careless, and familiar should not mean unsafe. So what is the takeaway? Trust your instincts. Question the illusion, and choose meals that give you real value, not fake shortcuts. Because at the end of the day, food should fuel you, not fool you. Which of these 6 meals shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts below, hit like and subscribe to The Hidden Menu so you never miss the next food secret. And remember, the truth is not always on the menu.